You know what we're talking about. We're talking about the escalating migrant crisis. You saw those pictures in northern France around Calais that we were showing you, the sheer scale of it, thousands of young men waiting. And when they get here, it looks like more and more of them are at least being accused of committing sex crimes. Some of them have been convicted. It's not just the crimes they're committing. It's the type of crimes, and there are disturbing signs that the statistics in terms of sex crimes are on the way up. So more and more sex crimes are being allegedly committed by our asylum seeker friends. So that is something to worry about, don't you think? 0344 499 1000, and let me know what you think about the fact that when the government lowered the drawbridge and said to pretty much every other Afghanistan citizen, oh yeah, I'm sure you helped us, why don't you come back? We didn't seem to ask any questions. All these people who said, oh yeah, I was really, really close to the British, I helped them throughout the war, oh, you can come back. Loads of them lying quite clearly. One of them, who should have been shown the door, he was on the kill list, the Taliban kill list, so they said, OK, you can come back. He said, can I bring 22 family members, relatives? And we went, yeah, OK. 22. So how many of these people on the kill list were allowed to bring back, you know, tens of their relatives, 10 of their relatives, 15. It's just ridiculous. No questions asked. I'm not having the Ben Wallaces and the Grant Shapps of this world acting like they were really statesmanlike during this sordid period where they screwed up on a massive scale by leaking that data breach and then took out a seedy little super injunction to keep the secret of this complete screw-up, this complete mess from the public. And they're acting like, oh, it was saving lives. No. It was grubby what you did. It was seedy, keeping secrets from the people who voted for you. And you say it's about saving lives. It wasn't that, was it? Do me a favour. And even if it was your job to look through that list. Somebody should have been checking. Did they really help us? Somebody phoned up, say, well, just ask them in English. If they work with the English, test their English. How good is their English? If they can't speak English, they probably weren't interpreters, were they? If you see what I mean. 0344 499 1000. Right. For the next half an hour or so, really pleased to announce that I'm going to be joined by the excellent Reform UK Mayor for Greater Lincolnshire, Dame Andrea Jenkyns. Welcome, Andrea.
Evening, Kevin. Good to see you again.
Always a pleasure. Well, can we talk about the big Reform UK moment today? First, I've got a number of issues I want to chat to you about, but Nigel Farage announcing that if he was in power, he would bring about a large crackdown on British crime. Zero tolerance for crime, saturation stop and search in high crime areas so that maybe as many as 1 in 5 people got stopped and searched. And also, I think a lot of people interested in this, that the most serious offenders may be forced to spend or serve their sentences in foreign jails, including El Salvador's notorious supermax prisons. That's where Donald Trump has been housing some of America's worst crooks. So a general, and he said, of course, that Reform UK won't be letting out dangerous prisoners, it will be locking them up, which seems to be the kind of right way around, if you see what I mean. But your thoughts on Nigel's announcement today that a Reform UK government would get to grips with lawless Britain?
It's music to my ears, Kevin. Look, even when I was a Tory MP, I've been saying for, 9-10 years that no crime should be too small to go unpunished, and the Conservatives didn't take that strong on crime approach as they should have done, but with Nigel we've finally got there. And I liked how he said he will end the early release system, he'll take back control of our streets, because let's face it, we are out of control as a country. We'll build more prisons, and this zero tolerance approach. But also, one line that I really loved, actually, Kevin, which I think sums it up, if we get into government in 2029, to criminals out there, be a law-abiding citizen, or you will face serious justice. And that is the kind of message that we need to be putting out there.
Absolutely. And what about this, the El Salvador Supermax plan? I mean, I think it's a good idea, to be honest with you. It sent a serious message to the lawless migrants of America.
Even better than my tent idea. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, get them out of the tents and over to El Salvador. But I mean, you know that the bleeding heart mob will go human rights and all that, but what rights do they have? They want to break our laws. That these would be serious criminals. If we want to send them to prison in El Salvador, we can, can't we?
I mean, this has got to go hand in hand with what we've been saying for a long time in reform to come out the ECHR. Now, I noticed Suella was trying to say her plan for coming out the ECHR. It ain't going to happen under the Tories. Look, I got 50,000 signatures with the Conservative Post. They still would not listen. The Conservatives won't deliver that. Only reform will deliver that. Will deliver this strong policing. So with reform, we'll get control.
What do you think Suella Braverman's up to? I mean, she seems to stay within the warm embrace of the declining Tory party, coming up with this stuff today. Here's how we could leave the ECHR. I don't see why we need a massive blueprint on how to leave the ECHR. We just leave. We just leave. You see, I've got quite a lot of time for Suella, but, you know, she's a lawyer, so everything must be done at great length, far too complex, and so on and so forth. But what's she up to, though? Why is she messing around with this stuff within the Tories, who are terrified to disturb the universe? What does she think she's doing?
I think she's trying to stay relevant in a party what's dying. I think that's what she's doing. Look, I saw her a couple of weeks ago at Nana Aqua's birthday party, engagement party. I know you know Nana as well. Mm-hmm. And she was there, and I just asked her straight out, you know, why have you not defected to reform? Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, my association, I really care about them. I said, can your association save Britain? I said, it seems to me that you're coming up with lame excuses. And my gut feeling, if I'm honest, I might be wrong, I think she sent Raoul across to try and you know, spy on things, and now she's staying in the Conservative Party. But I don't think she's brave enough to make the jump. I mean, I remember, she'll be annoyed at me saying this, but when during the Brexit years, David Davis, another one of the Brexit ministers, resigned en masse. If you remember, Boris resigned. She should have resigned as well as a junior Brexit minister, but she chickened out. She waited 6 months, and I collared her in the voting lobby. I said, "Why the hell did you not resign en masse?" And I remember she said, "Oh, not everybody's brave," and she waited 6 months. So I spoke to her about that the other day. Sorry, a couple of weeks ago when I saw her. I said, "Look, the thing is, the longer that people leave it and wait, they just look desperate, and then you know we wouldn't have you anyway if people are acting like that." So.
Well, I keep asking her on the show. And we get these kind of indications. Oh yes, Suella's really pleased, really keen to come on, keen to come. But she never does. And I think you might have hit the nail on the head. I'm not necessarily saying this in a pejorative way, but I think she lacks a bit of political courage. I really do. I think she's scared.
No, I think so.
She's scared to take the step that most of us believe she probably should take, and that is to join you guys.
And also, actually, I mean, look at the stuff what's happened with the Afghanistan coming over. Look, I resigned to fight for Brexit. You know, it's okay saying I spoke up in cabinet, but all these are saying they spoke up in cabinet. If they was really genuinely disgusted, they should have resigned. And you know, cause this domino effect to push back on things.
Yes, indeed. But the crime initiative by Nigel Farage, you're happy that he could fund it. I think he talked in terms of it maybe costing about £17 billion to get coppers back on the streets. But we need to do that, don't we? You know, we every time everybody says, well, whatever happened to bobbies on the beat? What happened to coppers on the street? Oh, well, we can't afford them anymore. Well, when we did have them on the street...
They're going into marches raising flags, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly right. Well, when we did have coppers on the streets, though, bobbies walking the beat, we had far less crime. Now it's going through the roof. So surely, you know, putting money into getting coppers onto the streets shouldn't be a luxury option. It should be an absolute necessity.
No, I remember going on Mike's show on Talk years ago and saying we should get back to the 80s where we drag people off the street if they've got behaviour like this. And we really should. You know, we've got to be tough on crime. I mean, I thought the 80s was great with the police on the beat, didn't you?
Well, of course.
A lot more rougher. But do you know something? How many people would give like jip to a police officer in the 80s like they do now?
Indeed. I mean, I think Nigel Farage's initiative will I
think it's brilliant.
Strike a chord.
I'm really proud to be in reform, especially when things like this are coming out.
Well, you know, the other parties aren't doing anything and the police aren't doing anything, so something has to be done. You wanted to talk about an oil refinery in Lincolnshire, and it's been closed down. Tell us about this.
Right, so it's Prax Lindsay Oil Refinery, and it's you know, the fifth biggest one in the UK. It's strategically important. They've even got a direct oil line to Heathrow. Now, I've twice had calls with the minister, and the first call, it's gone into receivership. The management company's been in there. And I've always felt that speaking to the minister that there's this laissez-faire attitude. He doesn't particularly care. And I mean, today he was saying different things to what I'm hearing on the ground. He was saying that it's not affecting local filling stations. There's not a shortage. Well, it is. You know, I've had it on the ground. The workers tell me this. The workers have told me that the management company have said it's a viable business. It just needs good leadership. And I think that they're actually letting it go on ideological grounds. Because simply, you know, they've got an ideological stance against oil, all because of net zero.
Yeah.
And
how many jobs? How many
import it, and then you have more wind farms and solar in fields than actually producing oil. It's ridiculous.
How many jobs are at risk here, Andrea?
Well, including the permanent contractors, it's over 800, but there's also a local hotel who's may need to close down as well. It's the effective services that actually support it. So it's going to be, you know, I think 1,000 or more. And I mean, if we've been looking at the figures, the Exchequer figures, you're talking, I mean, they get quite good salaries as well. National insurance alone, it's tens of millions of pounds the Exchequer is going to lose, and it's going to cost £1 billion to get the ground ready to be brownfield again. So the government's got to put money into it. And so, and I asked as well of the minister, I said, look, you know, how many companies came forward to actually want to buy it, and he didn't seem to have much information. So I think that, look, I'm asking people of businesses of Britain, please invest in Lindsay Oil Refinery. You know, we need oil. We can't be importing it. It's local jobs. But I want to support these people as well. To whatever happens, I will be there supporting them with a package to help.
Absolutely. And talking of importation. In your area, are you aware of any of these secret Afghani migrants being billeted into the area of Greater Lincolnshire?
I'm not, but that'll be the county and district councils. I mean, the district councils are responsible for that. But I know we have got migrant hotels, which we need to put a stop to. I mean, like you said, what was it, 22?
Yeah, one turned up and said, can I bring 22 family members with me? And we, the dumb British...
Was it all wives, by the way?
Probably, yeah. I mean, but we just said yes. I mean, shouldn't the kind of instinctive reply to someone who says, is it okay to bring 22 family members with me? It should be no, it isn't. You're going to have to whittle them down. I mean, what annoys me about this, well, there's so many things that annoys me about it. I'd be interested to hear your take, Andrea. But it's, you know, clearly it's outrageous for a government to take out a super injunction to keep secrets from the people that elected it. Not because it's anything to do with saving lives. They took out that super injunction so we didn't find out about the heinous...
Until after the election.
The egregious nature of that data breach leak, and the fact that hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of these people were going to be shipped in, airlifted into this country secretly. It wasn't to do with saving lives. They're just hiding behind that, if you ask me. But what are your thoughts about this? That amid this, quite clearly, what I'm saying is Ben Wallace, Grant Shapps, it was incumbent upon them. They were the Defence Secretary. It's also incumbent upon Rishi Sunak, the then Prime Minister, the Cabinet,
the whole Cabinet,
to go through this list of 100,000 Afghanis who applied to come here, who said, yeah, we helped the British. We know 100,000 Afghanis didn't help the British. So we've let 36,000 in so far under this scheme. Nowhere near 36,000 helped us. They reckon if you were right at the upward end of the estimation of how many Afghans helped the British throughout that war would be fewer than 4,000. Fewer than. It may even just have been in the hundreds. And yet, we essentially said yes to 100,000 people, no questions asked. We should have been asking questions. What did they think they were doing?
No, I agree with you. And I think it was a political decision. And look, I was an MP at the time. You know, why did we not get briefings on this? I would have, you know, spoke out about it. And I think looking at the Cabinet as well, look how many of them now are saying, taking a strong stance on it, yet at the time they was welcoming the Afghan refugees. So I think what people like is honesty, don't they? And it clearly was a political decision because it was held back until after the election as well. And I feel very saddened about that. I mean, that's on Rishi's watch, wasn't it? And all the Cabinet there who dealt with it. And yeah, it's just wrong. And like you said, why did people not question it? And even if the Cabinet did question it, you know, why didn't they actually do something about it?
Yeah, you got Ben Wallace saying, "But no regrets," and Grant Shapps going, "I'd do it all again." Well, if you got no regrets and you do it all again, then you really, really weren't fit for office, and you must never come back to government, because the idea of an elected government taking out a sort of celebrity-style super injunction, the kind of injunction that celebrities and actors and rock stars take out to cover up their philandering. The idea of a government taking out a super injunction to keep secrets from the people who elected them, that has to stop. That must never be allowed again, don't you think?
No, I mean, I'd expect that with a Labour Party, but not with a Conservative Party. That's why I feel very saddened, actually, that it was them. And I was part of that party at the time. It's, you know, what the hell was the thinking? You know, things like this, people find out, for God's sake, and why would you keep that from the public? You're there to represent the public.
Yeah, and people like you, MPs, they weren't allowed to know. That's an outrageous betrayal of democracy.
How can you scrutinise a government? And I, as you know, I was a big critic of my own government at the time, and it shows you the lack of scrutiny.
Yeah, the Intelligence Security Committee was not allowed to know. These people have full security clearance. They weren't allowed to know. No. It's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. I don't think Wallace or Shapps or any of the people who were in power then, I heard Michael Gove sort of rather proudly saying, yes, I knew about it. We did the right thing to save lives. Well, I'll tell you what you did, Michael. I'll tell you what you did, Grant. I'll tell you what you did, Ben and Rishi. You broke the umbilical cord of trust between governments and the people. How can we trust any government ever again? We need to be told definitively that never again will a government take out a super injunction. Now, everybody accepts governments have to keep secrets. Well, that's their job. They shouldn't be able to take out legal lawsuits to keep the public from knowing about what they're up to. That has to stop.
I mean, I'd love to see, wouldn't you, some statistics these has come over, how many's gone on to commit crimes as well in Britain.
Well, that will come up because the statistics generally about asylum seeker crime are beginning to explode into the public arena. And when we find out that some of these Afghani migrants who came here secretly on these mass airlifts, if we find out any of them are responsible for alleged crimes or convictions, all hell's going to break loose. It really is. It really is. Listen, let's go to break, Andrea. When we come back, we'll talk about this shocking incident involving a homeless veteran on a train. He was kicked off for not paying his fare. He had the cash, but the guard wouldn't accept the cash. What's that all about?